Good evening, and welcome to episode 2 of Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from a Regular Daily Schedule. I'm your host, Cresta Reynolds, and alongside me once again is the esteemed duo of Ryan Haletta and Nadiri Morgan-Thompson. Tonight we will discuss topics in the NFL, NBA, NCAA, and conclude with the player spotlight. Let's move into topic 1. The legal tampering period began Monday, so let's get into a couple of guys that could be perfect fits for their new teams. Ryan, let's start with you on this one.
I think for the top safety on the board not signing today, with a slew of signings that happened, I'm going to go with Javon Holland. I think he can go to either three teams of the Commanders, the 49ers, or stay in Miami. But out of all three of those teams, I think the Commanders make the most sense. They don't have the best safety duo back there. They got Quan Martin and Percy Butler. They can really use a guy to help out their corners. They've made a lot of aggressive moves this offseason, trading for Laramie Tunsil today. They signed Javon Kinlaw. They re-signed Bobby Wagner. So they're really shoring up their defense and then making moves for O-line to protect Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. Nadiri?
I mean, for me, I think the best signing I can think of right now is I think that the Packers should go after Stephon Diggs, right? The Packers need an X receiver. They need somebody that Jordan Love can rely on. We saw what Diggs was able to do with Josh Allen to help his development. And Stephon Diggs is also a great receiver that the other young receivers can learn from. They do say that he's a diva. You might want to hide your wife from him, but at the end of the day, you cannot deny what he does on the field. Stephon Diggs is one of the best receivers in the league. He's coming off of an ACL tear. I think the Packers should be the team to pay him, and he should be the receiver for them.
He demands the ball way too much, and they got too many playmakers.
They need people that demand the ball. I mean, Christian Watson isn't going to catch it.
That's very true.
I know, but you're going to spread it to Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, you got Romeo Doubs there, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave. You got too many weapons.
You got a lot of weapons, but none of them are as good as Stephon Diggs. You need a X-tier weapon. They don't have that right now. That's clearly a need. Yeah. They went after Devontae Adams. They went after DK Metcalf. They failed twice. Stephon Diggs is perfect for them.
I don't disagree they need an X receiver. I just don't think Stephon Diggs is the right guy.
Who do you think the guy is?
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper isn't an X.
He doesn't demand the ball.
In 2025, Amari Cooper is not an X receiver.
Yes,
There's no way he's an X receiver.
You know who loves big name guys? Jerry Jones. I have Diggs going to Dallas. I think it's not going to pan out very well, but Jerry Jones loves signing big name guys. He loves having that big name factor. Diggs and Lamb is going to be an absolute chaos. It's just they both demand the ball. But my actual prediction, I think the Patriots start to load up on the offensive line. I think they get Tevin Jenkins, Mekhi Becton, and Cam Robinson. I think they got Morgan Moses today. He goes at right tackle. Cam Robinson played at left tackle for Minnesota. He only allowed 5 sacks all year. And then obviously Tevin Jenkins, left guard, right guard, wherever you want. Mekhi Becton is that versatile offensive lineman. He can play tackle, guard, so if one of your guys gets hurt, you can just slide him over. But I think Drake May really succeeds after being sacked 34 times last season.
When they got Mike Onwenu, they have their center that they drafted a couple years ago. I mean, they have depth. So
the Patriots have been big spenders so far with paying Mitchell Williams and everything. So
yeah, lots of money to be spent this offseason so far. Let's move on to topic number 2. Since the trade deadline, the Bucs have surged up the East standings in the 3rd seed. Who's the guy that's fueled this surge, and are the Bucs real contenders in the East? Deary, take it away.
So the Bucs have been 9-5 since the deadline at the time of the recording, and I think the biggest addition has been Kyle Kuzma, right? Kyle Kuzma gave us 15 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 2 assists. And I think one of the big things that he capitalizes on is that he has hustle, and he's a very good rebounder. Brook Lopez is one of the best box-out players in the league, but he doesn't grab a lot of rebounds. With Kyle Kuzma there, he's getting a lot of those boards. And he has a will to win, right? Kyle Kuzma has championship DNA. He wants to win, and I think that the Bucs can go decently far with him. How do you feel about that, Ryan?
Yeah, I think the Bucs made some really good trades at the trade deadline. Some very under the table type moves. They got Kevin Porter Jr. as well, who was my X factor. They traded away Marjan Beaucamp, who was released by the Clippers already. Signed a 2-way contract with the Knicks. So I think they got really good value for KPJ. Although he has some off the court concerns, he's able to provide that spark at just 24 years old to this Bucs lineup, and he can be in there when Dame's in there. He can command the point when Dame's not in there. I mean, he's averaging a tick shy of 16 minutes a night in 12 games, 52% from the field, which is pretty darn good. Just under 9 points a game, and then 3 assists and 3 rebounds per game that he's averaging. And I mean, he had 2s across the board against the Cavs last night, but he only played 10 minutes. Right. I think Doc really has to play Kevin Porter Jr. more.
Yeah, and going back to that character thing, I think I heard about that too, but every time I see him on camera, he's always trying to learn from Doc, trying to help his teammates. There's nothing sideline riff that he's causing. Going back to Kuzma, though, do you think he shoots the 3 way too much? Since coming to Milwaukee, he's 16 of 59. There's been 7 games he shot more than 5 times from 3, and 3 that he shot more than 7.
I do think that Kuzma shoots a little too much, but at the end of the day, I kind of like that from him, right? Because you need a player that's confident in their shot. There are a lot of players that may shoot at a higher percentage, but at the end of the day, if you're not confident in your shot, should you really shoot the shot? Probably not. Kuzma's always confident, so in big moments, I'm comfortable that we can, rely on him. I will say this, right? The Bucks, though we're nice, we're not an upper echelon Eastern Conference team, right? Last night we lost to the Cavaliers, and Donovan Mitchell shot 4-15, Darius Garland shot 4-13, and they dominated us. They were up by 20 most of the night. The Bucks are not an upper echelon team, but I think Kuzma is a nice addition that can take us decently far.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. Next up, we will talk about the shocking trade the Raiders made to get their quarterback. Stay tuned on EWW TV.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love all of it.
It's always been there, his love of the outdoors. Some days, you wonder if it might be his calling. Truth is, you know that the things he's passionate about today will build the foundation of what he does tomorrow, and possibly inspire a new journey. All he needs now is a way to make it happen. We are the universities of Wisconsin. 13 universities, unlimited opportunity.
Matt checking in to see how Sam is doing on his project, and it's getting close to exporting now, the final step in the process. And it is complete, and Sam is hyped. Finally gets complete and spikes the ball into the end zone. Sam's celebrating with his colleagues, and they throw a flag on the play. The ref's gonna call excessive celebration. Sam is in disbelief and can't believe it. He tries to dispute the call, but the ref is not having any of it.
Welcome back to PEOMIOSFYRDS. The Raiders made a trade to get their quarterback, trading a third-round pick to Seattle for Geno Smith. Where do the Seahawks turn now, and can the Raiders now load up in their offense in the draft? Ryan, let's hear your thoughts on this.
I love this move for the Raiders. I think Vegas going out and reuniting Pete Carroll with Geno Smith, who he played for 4 years. They only gave up a third in this year's draft for a reliable quarterback in Geno Smith, who I know he's aging, but he's still agile. He makes pretty good decisions with the football. He's able to extend plays, and he's still a threat to run at 34 years old. I think they can really go get an offensive playmaker at pick 6. They did lose Trayvon Morgan to the Panthers, but replaced him with Jeremy Chin today. They also lost Robert Spillane to the Patriots, but they re-signed Malcolm Kuntz to be their edge rusher. So I think they can really either go running back or DB. I don't really see them addressing running back at pick 6, though. However, I think they could trade back, get more draft capital, maybe pick up a third round that they did trade for Geno to get back into day 2 with the other pick. But I think this draft has the draft and free agency has a lot of depth at running back and DB.
Yeah. Nadiri?
I honestly want to talk about the Seahawks side more because I think that the Seahawks didn't do as bad as a lot of people make it seem, right? They got a third for a quarterback that they didn't want to pay, right? Geno Smith is asking for an extension that gives them $40 to $45 million per year. They were able to get Sam Darnold with about a little more than $30 million per year. And even though it's not necessarily like a massive upgrade, if we're talking about money-wise, it's a way better payday. The Seahawks have been getting off older players that they don't want to pay. They traded Geno Smith. They cut Tyler Lockett. They traded DK, right? And they're clearly doing something for the future. I will say this, right? They don't really have the best offensive line, so I don't know what they think Sam Darnold's going to do under that offensive line. And he only really has one person to throw to. So I don't know what they're going to do with that third-round pick. With the third-round pick in terms of, weapons or things like that. But I think that the Seahawks are turning in an interesting direction going forward. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah. Is it almost kind of guaranteed that Tyler Lockett goes to Vegas at this point? Like, you get Geno Smith.
Yeah.
You don't really have an offensive weapon besides Brock Bowers. I have also heard, though, that Michael Mayer is in trade talks.
Yes.
So I think, honestly, if the Raiders kind of look at how the draft board is falling and can see that, oh, maybe our guy will be available at 12 or 13, one of those teams could trade up, add Michael Mayer in there, maybe get an extra day 2, day 3 pick, and then maybe get a guy like Tet McMillan, Luther Burden, because Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker are not going to do it for this team. The QB market sure just got even more interesting. Moving on to topic 4. It's officially March, and that means conference tournaments begin. Focusing on the Big Ten, who's your winner? And tell me a team that you could think could make a shocking run. Nadiri, let's start with your predictions.
I mean, for me personally, right, you know, as a Wisconsin-born kid, I'm never going to bet against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's actually doing very well this year, and they're my pick. I have Wisconsin going over Maryland in the championship, right? And Wisconsin, they have a first-round bye, but I think having a first-round bye is not having 2 byes is actually better because it allows for them team to get into a rhythm, right? They have senior guard John Tanji, and they have sophomore guard John Blackman, and both of them are guards who can get hot and they can score. And we all know that, you know, in the tournament, you really need one player to get hot, and he can take you really far. As terms of a team, I think that can make a comeback. I wouldn't want to rule out USC. USC has a very similar thing to Wisconsin where they have 2 nice guards that can get hot and take you very far. They have junior guard Desmond Claude, and they have freshman guard Wesley Yates III. I think both of them take you pretty far. What do you think, Ryan?
I think you mentioned the Badgers. I do like the Badgers. They have not been playing the best basketball lately, but they are going to get Max Kleshman back, who is a good three-point shooter. At least he has been in recency. But I think the Badgers' X factor, honestly, is Kamari McGee. The way he can come off the bench and really score, be effective in the paint, from the perimeter. I like Northwestern to beat Minnesota and be Wisconsin's first opponent in this tournament. I think if Northwestern wins, it's better for Wisconsin. But if Minnesota wins, I think I might take Minnesota in that one because they did give the Badgers a run for their money back on March 5th. As my prediction to win this thing, I like Michigan State a lot. You know, Tom Izzo in March, he's a great coach. But my underdog, really, I think, is Oregon. They played very well against the Badgers, who were ranked 11th at that time. Their offense is insane. They can score triple digits if they really wanted to. I mean, they're just really aggressive. They push the basketball down the court.
Yeah, I think people forget that Oregon, I think in week 3 or 4, was ranked 9th in the nation. I think people forget about that.
They're ranked 23rd now, too. They're not a bad team.
Right. I think for me, my winner is going to be Maryland. They play a very limited lineup, 7 or 8 guys. But their starting 5 averages 30 to 33 minutes. They're very good defensively. They only allow about 66 points per game and get 8 steals a game. I think they beat Michigan State. They only lost by 3 points to them about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I think Illinois is a team to watch. Their turnover margin is a little bit rough, but Oregon, who was ranked 9th at that time, Illinois beat Oregon, by 32. They beat Michigan a week and a half ago by 20 in Michigan. And then they followed that with a win against Purdue by 8. I think their bad three-point shooting with 31% is rough, but I think that team could make a run here.
Yeah.
Coming up after the break, we will talk about the market resetting for certain positions in the NFL. Stay tuned to PEOMIOSFYRDS.
Have you heard of UROC?
We're part of Whitewater and our own thing.
Come on, we'll show you.
I learned how to be a college student here, and now I'm headed off to Madison to study global health, and I know I'm ready.
People like me who aren't a fan of big crowds would really like UROC because it's welcoming and it's laid back.
My advisor helped me figure out my schedule, organize my time, fill out my FAFSA, and figure out what classes I liked and how to turn that into a major. And if I had to do it again, I would choose UROC.
You ready to rock?
You belong here.
Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. We're here to compete, to inspire, to grow, and to make history. We are rooted in tradition. For over a century, we have contended as the premier conference within Division III.
I shot the ball!
We are united throughout Wisconsin. All 8 of our full-time member institutions are based in our great state. But although Wisconsin is our home, our impact reverberates across the entire nation, crowning 180 national team championships and counting. Our mission is to shape student athletes who excel academically and athletically, equipped to become leaders in life. We are here to build on our enduring legacy and move boldly forward into the future. We are the WIAC, excellence in action.
I'm Elle Paulson, and this is The Insider on UWW-TV. The UW Whitewater men's baseball team kicked off the season in dominant fashion, securing 3 straight wins in a Kentucky series against the Asbury Eagles. The Warhawks made a statement in Game 1, scoring 15 runs over the first 3 innings and crushing Asbury in a 26-4 Mercy rule. This game was especially historic as head coach John Bodenlich became the all-time winningest coach in WIAC baseball history, clinching his 730th career win with the program. The Warhawks carried that momentum into Game 2, starting off strong with 6 first-inning runs. The highlight of the game came in the top of the 9th when Eli Frank hit a 3-run homer, sealing another 12-2 victory for Coach Bodenlich. The Warhawks completed their sweep of Asbury University with a 6-3 victory on Saturday morning. The Warhawks play a stretch of 6 games facing teams including Carroll University and Edgewood College. With their explosive offense, seasoned leadership, and rock-solid defense, the Warhawks are shaping up for another legendary season. I'm Elle Paulson, and this has been The Insider on UWW-TV.
She's always had it. Pure ambition. An unbridled self-confidence that most people only dream of. You see it driving her, empowering her, and in time, you see it fueling her future. Perhaps even helping her blaze a new trail. All she needs now is a way to make it happen. We are the Universities of Wisconsin. 13 universities. Unlimited opportunity.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the future.
Sports fans, we cheer on our favorite teams at fields, gyms, arenas, and stadiums. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be a referee? Verbal abuse from fans, parents, and coaches is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away. And they're not being replaced quickly enough by new ones. So put yourself in the official shoes, act with respect, and be officially human.
Welcome back to the show. Free agency started with a bang, with some players getting some big money. Who were some guys that got the deal they deserved, and what were some shockers? Ryan, let's hear your thoughts.
I love Talanoa Hufanga to the Broncos. 3 years, $45 million a year, $15 million a year. Fantastic deal for a pretty darn good safety that's in the league right now. The Broncos are just on the up and up. I love Bo Nix at their quarterback. I think it's a great. Hufanga's going to be a great pickup for their secondary. He's an athletic, physical, tough safety that only improves Sean Payton's secondary that he's building there. And they just signed his ex-teammate Dre Greenlaw to 3 years, $35 million for 3 years. They're just showing up that defense. But one that I'm confused about is the Cardinals signing Josh Sweat. I know they went 8-9 last year, but it just makes it's a little odd to me because they're right on the cusp of the playoffs. They addressed edge rusher, but I think they have other needs they could have went after, including receiver. They have to get Marvin Harrison some help. O-line, they have to give Kyler time to throw back there. He can't just run around like a little kid in a candy store anymore. But they decided to go with a guy to rush the passer. Josh Sweat got a really good need for them. They needed an edge rusher, but I think they need to do some more.
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest reason why they signed Josh Sweat is because he used to be under Gannon. Jonathan Gannon, that's their head coach. And it makes sense that you want to reunite them, especially when you get a new edge rusher. Speaking of edge rushers, though, I want to talk more about some of the extensions that happened, right? Myles Garrett got 4 years, $160 million. He's making the most out of any non-quarterback. And I think that's really interesting because the Browns are terrible. You know what I mean? So it's I understand why you want to re-sign your best player because obviously you don't want to lose talent. But what exactly are you going to do with Myles Garrett and his team? it's really confusing. Another player who signed a massive extension, Max Crosby, 3 years, $106 million. He got about 35, and he kind of set the market for what Myles Garrett got. And the Raiders are trending in a way better direction than the Browns, so I'm not going to question that. But I do have one question, right? With these deals, what happens to Michael Parsons now?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I have in my notes. I think the Cowboys are kicking themselves right now because they're paying Dak, they're paying CD, they're paying Trayvon Diggs. They just signed their D tackle. Like, they are going to have to let some key guys go because you can't just sign Micah to a $40 million deal.
Yeah.
So
Jerry hasn't signed an outside free agent to more than $6 million since 2015.
I mean, to me, if you pay Michael Parsons, you know who they can't get? They can't get Diggs, man. So
That's true. Some great players that may deserve all that money. Let's move into our spotlight topic. Diana Taurasi officially retired from the WNBA after a 22-year career. With a resume long enough to fill the entire show, is there another player that compares to her? And can anyone ever match or best her resume? Nadiri, what's your thoughts?
You know, Diana Taurasi is a very interesting player, right? Because she played for so long and she was so good to great. You know what I mean? She's a 6-time gold medalist, winning from 2004 to 2024, 3-time WNBA champ, 2 times final MVP, 1-time WNBA MVP. But I think the one thing that, I'm not the biggest fan about Diana Taurasi is the individual stats, right? I think if you want to be the best, you have to be the best. You know what I mean? 1 MVP, she was the best 1 time. You know what I mean? She won a lot of gold medals. Gold medals are a team award. You know what I mean? Tyrese Halliburton got a gold medal this year. What did he do in the Olympics? You know what I mean?
Jason Tatum has a gold medal.
Exactly. He was, giving water to LeBron and, Steph Curry. So I think though Diana Taurasi has one of the best resumes ever, I think her GOAT status in the WNBA world is, it's kind of fugazi. What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, I think the game of basketball has just changed, though. There were a lot more playmakers that were, not so much, spread out, but, Taurasi played for 22 years, same team. She had constant change with teammates, but she also had that chemistry with her teammates. So I think her resume, although she does have a lot of decent and pretty good individual awards, I think you got to focus more on the team side of her and what she's done for the WNBA and the game of basketball in general. Yes, she has 6 gold medals. That is a team stat. That is a team award. But she does have the most points. She's a 2 times final MVP. Being in the clutch, that's what Taurasi did, and she excelled in that. I think you're going to bring up A'ja Wilson. I think she can make a small case for this, but I think the title has to go to Diana Taurasi. I think just longevity is slowly fading in today's game. 22 years, same team. I mean, it's just crazy across all sports.
Yeah, I think for me, it's crazy that someone was able to play at such a high level for so long until the age of 42. And I feel like that is kind of the thing that's more impressive. But yeah, if you want to touch on A'ja Wilson, Nadiri.
I mean, to me, right, I don't think A'ja Wilson is the GOAT yet, but I think that she's on the track to do so, right? She has, I believe, 3 MVPs, 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs. She already has more MVPs than Diana Taurasi, and she already has the same amount of finals MVPs. She doesn't have the gold medals, but she hasn't played for 22 years. And I mean, she's already, I think, scored 5,000 points in her career in 6 years. It took Diana Taurasi 22 years to score 10,000 points, right? So if we're thinking about an individual greatness, I think A'ja Wilson is going to have her beat.
That's a good argument. When we come back, we'll present our final thoughts for this week's episode. Stay tuned.
We'd love to show you what it's like to be a Warhawk.
Come on!
Don't miss out on your chance to be a Warhawk.
At UW Whitewater.
You belong here!
You can see it. His potential, that is. You see it even when he may not. You see that the things that spark his interest today will in time ignite the things he pursues tomorrow. And ultimately, help him reach new heights. All he needs now is a way to make it happen. We are the universities of Wisconsin. 13 universities, unlimited opportunity.
UWW-TV has been an important part of the campus and community since 1980.
Not only providing on-air learning opportunities for broadcast journalists and electronic media production students,
but educating and entertaining our audiences with award-winning news, live sports coverage, original programming,
as well as dedicating the mission to developing creative collaborations throughout campus.
For more information, visit our website and like us on Facebook.
Check us out because you got to see what's on UWW-TV.
sports fans. We pack stadiums, arenas, and local gyms every day. And every sports fan is uniquely human. Seeing each play with your own eyes, triggering your own emotions. And as humans, we won't agree on every call, but we can act with empathy and consideration. So put yourself in the official shoes. Be more than a fan. Be officially human.
Welcome back to PEOMIOSFYRDS. Let's give our final thoughts for this week. Ryan, what's on your mind?
I think that with free agency happening on Monday, I think we saw a lot of money get thrown at a lot of different players, and I think that this shakes up the draft, especially the top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the top 10 is going to be insane, right? Because there's still, I mean, the top 10 is a lot of defensive talent, right? Like, you have to wonder, where does somebody like Travis Hunter go? Where does somebody like Abdul Carter end up? But also, with the quarterback situation, you have to wonder, where do Cam Ward end up? Where does Shedeur Sanders? Does Jackson Dart, is he top 10 now? Because you know how they feel about quarterback value. Is Ashton Genty, is he a top 10 pick? Depending on positional value, that's not insane. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, last year we saw what? I think it was 15 offensive players in a row. Yeah. Do we see that again this year? Do we see defense? Do we see a guy like Ashton Genty, like you were mentioning? Do we see him fall into the 20s to like the Chargers? Do we see him fall to Denver?
They just signed Najee. I don't think they go with a running back.
No, I mean, if you can get Ashton Genty, you take Ashton Genty. Najee Harris is not him.
Like, I think Genty can go to the Bears at, I think they pick at 10, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I think he kind of sets their offense. He'd be kind of crazy over there.
Yeah, I think
how
the
you feel about DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift is like actually so terrible. Like,
I think
he's only good in Madden.
Well, like the Browns just traded for Kenny Pickett. I know it's not like a game-wrecking move, but like they're trying to add quarterbacks to their quarterback room. I think they can still go after one of these free agent quarterbacks. I don't think they need to draft a quarterback. I think maybe they sign Myles Garrett, pair him with Abdul Carter.
I think they should bring back.
You got a really good edge rushing duo right there.
They got to bring back Jameis, no? Jameis maximizes
He
the
wasn't
offense.
that, but he threw a lot of picks, but Jameis Winston was
Jameis maximizes the offense at the end of the day. You saw what he did with Jerry Jeudy that one night?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
They went off.
That was insane.
You say everything about the interceptions, but that's just Jameis Winston.
That's just, I mean,
he's just aggressive.
Yeah. If you love Jameis, you have to love his interceptions as much as you love his touchdowns. That's a fact.
I mean, for me, I think the Pats and the Raiders win the draft right now because they're in such a good position where they pick at 4 and 6. They could trade back. They could take another playmaker. I think the Patriots and Raiders will probably control the top 10 and what happens with.
I mean, where do we think Travis Hunter goes?
Patriots. I think he still goes to the Patriots.
I think that's a good landing spot. I was thinking even maybe the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders, they kind of need a receiver, and they could use them in the cornerback room too. I think that could work both ways for them. What do you guys think about that?
I think they could pair 6 and Michael Mayer with somebody, trade up to maybe 4, maybe 3. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of teams in that top 5 that are looking for an offensive weapon. So
I think after today and after these quarterbacks do sign that are in free agency, I think Shedeur does fall out of the top 10. And I think we see Jackson Dart go ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Because I like Dart's ceiling a lot more than Shedeur Sanders.
I don't think Dart's ever going to tickle his ceiling. Jackson Dart is not him. Jackson Dart is
literally someone better than Shedeur Sanders.
Jackson Dart is literally the player. They do this every year where they convince themselves that the quarterback is really nice and he's never good. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, it happens all the time.
It's SEC quarterbacks, okay? I understand SEC quarterbacks. I'm not going to freak out about Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe, but Jackson Dart, I think, can have a longer, better NFL career than
Shedeur Sanders is better right now. Shedeur Sanders is more accurate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's takes a lot of. He's only good because of his dad at Colorado.
No, I mean, come on. That's egregious.
Well, that will do it for us here tonight. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time to hear more of our takes all around the world of sports. This has been Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from your regular daily schedule on UWW TV.